Greetings, Game Closet minions and minionettes. Thank you for stopping by to hear about this week's offering. In 1982, the Atari 2600 was soaring high and cashing in on years of success in the home video game console market. And that year, Atari owners saw the release of great games such as Demon Attack, Yar's Revenge, The Empire Strikes Back, Berserk, Frogger, Pitfall, and River Raid. And who could forget E.T.? But there was one game that the arcade rats and home console owners alike were anxiously awaiting, and that's Pac-Man. Yes, Pac-Man, the Namco arcade sensation of 1980, was coming home to the Atari 2600. I can tell you, I was excited. My best friend was excited. Hell, the girl that lived 2 doors down that never talked to me knew I had the game, and suddenly she was at my house playing Pac-Man on my Atari. That's alright, she didn't stick around and she wasn't that cute. So it was cool. Atari declared April 3rd, 1982 National Atari Day, and they prepared over 1 million copies of the game for launch. Atari sold over 8 million copies, making Pac-Man the highest-selling Atari 2600 game of all time. The game is so common, you're likely to see copies of Atari Pac-Man in people's yards and on city streets rather than dog poop. Why? Because people pick up dog poop and leave Pac-Man to sit there and rot. That's all a great bunch of trivia, but guess what? This game is a piece of It's considered one of the worst games ever made. And yes, worse than E.T. E.T. isn't all that bad in comparison to many other really bad games made for Atari 2600. Don't get me wrong, E.T. sucks, but Atari's Pac-Man wears a crown of turds. Atari didn't want to spend the extra cash on 8KB ROM cartridges, so they used the much cheaper 4KB ROM cartridges to widen their profit margin. This could have helped make a better game. But to be fair, the Atari system had its RAM limitations. Just look at it next to the real thing. One of these things is not like the other. Here's a list of piss-poor choices that Atari made. Atari's Pac-Man is landscape, whereas the arcade is portrait. Atari's background is toilet cleaner blue. The arcade has a black background. Atari's Pac-Man can look left and right only. Arcade Pac-Man can turn every single direction. Atari Pac-Man had rectangular wafers. The arcade had round dots. The Atari 2600, well, all the ghosts are piss yellow, and the arcade's ghosts are all colorful. Piss yellow and toilet cleaner blue. That really doesn't say, bring me home to the kids. Atari's poor sounds and zero cinematics lost hands down to the arcade version. Atari programmer Tod Frye had to figure out how to port the arcade Pac-Man with half the ROM storage space other contemporary Atari cartridges were given at the time. Atari wanted it cheap, and they wanted it fast, so they could turn a fast buck. And to hell with quality.
And before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it.
But let's tell it like it really is. After all of its limitations, the cheap ROM, the poor programming, the game is more boring than counting sheep with Ben Stein.
Bueller?
Atari games aren't for holding one's attention these days, but this piece of trash is insidious. It's just a downright snore fest. Watching turtle pornography would probably be more desirable. This thing must be dealt with. Well, that's taken care of. What the f***? Ugh. Alright, now it's gone. This is impossible! Ugh. This thing is evil. It must be stopped. Hello? Father Marin?
Jesus Christ! It is he who commands you! He who plunged to the depths of hell! The power of Christ compels you! 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 The power of Christ compels you. It's God himself who commands you.
Well, that's taken care of. I now know what must be done.
The evil is now destroyed. You may now like the video and subscribe to Game Closet for more video game fun. Hit the bell and we will let you know when there's something new.